More than a dozen vehicles were at the mercy of slick roads around the region today. Icy patches caused a bus to overturn in New Brunswick, and poor driving conditions in Nova Scotia sent an RCMP officer to hospital with serious injuries. As CTV's Gareth McDonald tells us, he was hit by a car while on the job.
Felicia?
Thanks for that, Gareth.
You're welcome.
That's CTV's Gareth McDonald reporting live for us in Halifax. Slippery roads have played a part in other accidents today. About a dozen people were hurt when a bus crashed on a New Brunswick highway. RCMP say it happened around 2:30 a.m. on Highway 11 near Bathurst. The driver of a passenger bus carrying about 20 men from a local hockey team lost control, left the road, and landed on its side. Police say about a dozen people were taken to hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. Road conditions were icy at the time of the crash. Nova Scotia's independent serious incident response team has been called in after a man was hurt fleeing from RCMP officers early this morning. A driver was told to pull over at an RCMP checkpoint near Cherrybrook when he decided to take off instead. Officers pursued the vehicle and it was found less than a kilometer away on its roof. The driver ran from the car and was arrested nearby. He was taken to hospital with a broken jaw. CERT is asking anyone who may have seen the incident to contact them. A monument to healing and remembrance was unveiled this afternoon in a Maritime First Nations community. The ceremony highlighted the pain and suffering of generations of Mi'kmaq children forced to attend residential schools over a course of a century. CTV's Randy McDonald explains. Talk of a strike is getting closer for more than 500 school board workers in our region. Members of the Chignecto Regional School Board voted 80% in favor of a strike, which could come days before Christmas. The union has several outstanding issues with the Chignecto board, such as travel allowance, pickup times for bus drivers, and benefit issues. They're going into conciliation on December 17th. Community buildings and structures in Richmond and Inverness counties got a boost from the federal government today. Minister Peter MacKay announced more than $245,000 in fresh funding for 8 recreation facilities. The projects include a major upgrade to the wharf at the Lennox Passage Yacht Club and upgrades to the Acadiaville Community Centre. The money is part of the Economic Action Plan and will help with improvements and upgrades. Our next story shows the bond between daddy and daughter. An 11-year-old girl wanted to get her ears pierced, but was afraid it might be painful. So what does daddy do? He offers to get his ears pierced to show support. CTV's David Bell has their story. Pink studs for dad's ears. Very nice, thank you, David. Let's check in at the Weather Center with CTV's Elise Hand. Elise, it has been one of those days where you want to stay inside and hang out with dad. Coming up, running out of hope.
Alberta Health Services does not cover long-term care if you haven't been here for more than a year.
A New Brunswick woman suffers a stroke in Alberta. Now she may be forced to return to the Maritimes because she can't pay her medical bills. The full story is next. A Calgary family is trying to figure out how to help their aging grandmother after she had a stroke. The problem is she's from New Brunswick and hasn't lived in Alberta for a full year. The family worries the only way she can get the care she needs is to go back to New Brunswick, where she no longer has any relatives. CTV's Kevin Green has the story. Funeral services will be held today for 3 Quebec children found dead in a home last weekend. Their bodies were discovered Sunday in Drummondville. The children's mother, Sonia Blanchette, is facing 3 counts of first-degree murder. She'll undergo a psychiatric assessment to determine if she's fit to stand trial. Her next court appearance is scheduled for Friday. Well, if you don't already know who Spencer West is, prepare to be inspired. He has that rare ability to convince others to make the world a better place. And as you'll see on this week's W5, he's done it all despite being born with a serious disability. CTV's Avis Favreau explains. A transgendered man in Moncton is taking steps to take charge of his identity. Sebastian LeBlanc was born a woman. He has always felt he was born in the wrong body. Sebastian is going through a series of surgeries to change his gender, but is facing obstacles to change it officially in New Brunswick. We first brought you his story 2 months ago before he started his transformation, and we're getting an update of his life and struggles tonight. Sebastian LeBlanc joins us from Moncton. Glad to have you with us.
Hello.
Sebastian, you had a surgery last Friday in Bathurst to help with the transition. Tell us how it's helping you go from female to male.
It's helping me where the hysterectomy removes the female organs, which helps not producing the female hormones, which I am placing male hormones every day. And the process has begun now, so it's one surgery less that I have to worry about.
So surgically, what are the next steps?
It would be the chest reconstruction, where they remove the breast and they reconstruct the chest.
And this is going to be a long process. It hasn't been an easy one. What is the challenge you're facing with the New Brunswick government to change your identity?
In New Brunswick, your identity on your birth certificate, your driver's license, cannot be changed until officially all surgeries are complete. And which causes an issue with myself, because you have to be proven to have lived as a male for 2 years and go through a series of approval letters to have the surgeries done. Only male hormones now, and still cannot change my identity, which is I'm living as a male, but my identity says I'm a female.
So how does that make you feel, Sebastian?
A little blowed, sometimes embarrassed. If you have to produce your driver's license says you're Sebastian LeBlanc, which is male name, you look like a male, but on your identity it says female. It's belittling a person. It's not easy.
Well, I hear you want to get married, so what's stopping you?
Well, that won't be done until the gender on my birth certificate is changed, and which could be a year, 2 years. It all depends how long the surgeries take, where the final surgeries, if they're backed and backed, it could take a year and a half, a year, 2 years. It's all up to the healing process, I guess.
It takes a long time, and it also takes a lot of money to become the person you want to be. Is it worth it?
Yes, it is.
Tell me why.
There's no dollar amount on your happiness. My whole issue is, I've lived my life in the wrong body. I've never been so happy in my life. I actually went to surgery with a big smile on my face on Friday, which was encouraging to know that it is exactly who I am and what I want, and there's no dollar amount on happiness.
We're glad to hear that. What are some of the day-to-day challenges facing transgendered people?
A lot of people, it's confusing. There's the change. People don't accept change as well as we'd like them to. I have a hard time with people calling me her or by my birth name, which I prefer not to say, but it's just, people think you're confused or you're gay, or you're just not sure which way you want to go about your life, and it's just like a phase you're going through. There's no phase, there's no nothing. It's finally I'm me. I'm not, I'm dad to the kids, I'm not mom. Everyone's very comfortable with that, and it's actually getting easier. People are making the big effort to make sure that I feel comfortable as well.
Sebastian, I hear that you are going to be taking steps to fight for your identity. Tell us about that.
I'm filing a complaint with the New Brunswick Human Rights Commission. There's a process you have to go through to have your approval letters done. So one law is saying you have to have lived your life for 2 years as a male before your approval and all that stuff for your surgeries. But your identity can't be changed until all surgeries are complete. But if something happens, for say something goes wrong and they can't finalize the operations, your identity cannot be changed. And I'm going to fight until the end, and that once you're approved for your surgeries, your identity, in my opinion, should be able to be changed on your birth certificate, your driver's license, to coincide with who you are.
Well, thank you very much, Sebastian, for joining us.
Thank you.
That is Sebastian LeBlanc, a transgendered man who is in transition to getting the body he wants. Stay with us. We'll have more after this.